What if you could just outplay everyone in Rainbow Six? Well, it's actually a lot easier than you think. Today I'm going to share with you the best logic hacks so that you'll be able to draw logical conclusions on a round-to-round basis, giving yourself and your team the advantage. Here's an example. In the prep phase here, we spot a bandit. He's only got two different options for using his bandit batteries. The first is that he bandit tricks, meaning once I place my thermite charge, he'll place the battery at the same time destroying the thermite. The second option is that he just places them down in hopes we don't destroy them. Because these are his only two options for wall denial, the most logical thing for us to do in this circumstance is to nade the batteries off from the front door below. It's super safe because you can do it from outside the building. It will destroy the bandits if he's not there, allowing us to open up the wall, and if he is bandit tricking, we'll get a free kill at the same time. Now we'll have a ton of pressure on the bomb site, we're guaranteed to get the wall open, and we might be starting off the round with a free kill. Okay, they got bandit, so probably gonna bandit trick, right? Bandit the wall. We can nade the wall from underneath. We've made a logical conclusion based on a tiny amount of information, and now we have an advantage. This is just the most basic form of logic though. There's also a plethora of assumptions that you can make to predict what the other team will do in order to create the ideal environment for you to win. Take it from me. I have a 1.2 KD, which is only slightly above average, yet I still win 83% of my ranked games. There are a lot of other factors that contribute to that, like playing in a stack and having good teammates, but making these assumptions is a very necessary part as well. The first logic hack we can use is based on the other team's playstyle. Playstyle is something that people don't change very often. About 95% of the time, the playstyle people use are the ones they will continue to use throughout the match. You can therefore assume the other team will continue to play with whatever playstyle they're using off the first round. So if they're highly aggressive and don't drone a lot, you can capitalize on it. Or if they're super patient and never enter the building, you can also use that to your advantage. The trick here is knowing how to do that. Here's a game on Bank, where off the first round we got smoked. However, we gained a ton of information on how the other team was playing. Not only did they give up the server room for free, but they also let our knock player come through garage. We learned that their defense setups were very messy, and there was a lot of free space that we could take. So instead of working together the next round to try and take the bomb site again, we decided to spread out and take all that free space in order to limit their movement while being able to pinch them a lot better.
One's stuck on the left side of this door. 1 HP still. Capcan's 1 HP below. I'm gonna call again.
Cross dead.
Square dead.
Continuing in this fashion, the next round actually led us to this insane kill feed where Hibana got a kill and 4 people traded all at the exact same time. Literally half the lobby dying, all in the same second. We cleaned up the round nicely, and after that first round loss, when we made the assumption that they would continue that messy playstyle, we ended up winning the next 2 rounds. Once we switched to defense though, they hit us with the most elaborate, disgusting roam clear I've ever seen. It was slow, they thoroughly droned out the map, and they actually did a very impressive job. The downside for them, however, is that now our team can make the assumption that they'll continue to play like that, meaning we can counter it fairly easily. Instead of investing our entire team on the roam again, we had one person up there wasting their time, and then picked stalling operators like Tachanka and Smoke, making it nearly impossible for them to actually enter the bomb site in the dying seconds of the round. Because we understood their playstyle a lot better by the end of the game, we were able to adjust ours in order to beat them. For highly aggressive attackers that don't drone a whole lot, playing trap operators like Frost and Capcan is a great counter, but it's also the ideal time to hide in corners and make trick plays. Buck's dead. Now hear me out, if you like how nice the destruction is in Rainbow Six, you might also love the destruction effects in War Thunder. War Thunder is the sponsor of today's video, and let me tell you, they're doing something right over there because I am personally very impressed by how good the destruction effects of those vehicles look. If you're looking for a game to play with solid action-packed PvP, you can find it here with over 2,000 incredibly detailed vehicles, along with various immersion levels for all the different playstyles. The different planes, tanks, ships, and helicopters are each modeled down to their individual components, meaning the vehicles will suffer actual damage to each specific part on them. None of this generic damage garbage. This is one of the most dynamic and detailed vehicle damage models that exists in gaming. It's also part of the reason why War Thunder is one of the most comprehensive vehicle combat games that's ever been made, and you can play it right now on PC, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, or the previous console generation. And if you sign up using my link in the description, you'll also get a free large bonus pack including multiple premium vehicles, premium account boosters, and more. So
go download War Thunder using my link in the description, and thank you again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video.
So the next logical assumption that you can make is that if it works, or at least that's what the other team will think. The thing about this though is that it only applies some of the time, and understanding the difference between when it will work again and when it won't is the key to this. For example, in this theme park game, we got spawn killed on our very first attack round by one of the more common peaks. Using the assumption that they'll do it again because it worked, I could post up in a safe spot and try to get the kill. I missed by a tiny amount, but the point is when something works for the other team, they're gonna think it always will. This also applies to overtime. Whatever site they did best on, they'll run it again. In this coastline game, the only site the other team won on was the kitchen site, where they ran Smoke, Maestro, Jaeger, Frost, and Doc. Then in overtime, they ran the exact same site with the exact same operators, only this time we were able to know their plan ahead of time, not fall for the same tricks, and win the round very easily. He blew up his smoke, bro.
25.
We're in tase from behind.
50.
I'm gonna disable it.
I'm down.
Courtyard, right side
Almost
courtyard.
down.
Rotate.
Courtyard.
Rotate dead.
Another one courtyard.
Holy shit, bro.
Site rotate. Site rotate. That's good. If they were to switch it up and become unpredictable, they would have had a much better chance, but because it worked, they didn't change anything, and that's ultimately what led to them losing. The only time when it works actually applies is when the fundamentals of your strategy are solid, or when you're straight up destroying the other team with it.
One's cocktail. On heaven right now. Peeking over.
I'm peeking on white.
I got two on me, guys. I got two on me. One C1,
Coming here.
one planks.
Okay, one's
Just
snow
walk
door,
through sight. There's
snow
nothing
door.
freeze. Nothing freeze.
Yeah, one snow door.
C1 dead.
Jaeger snow door. No, Jaeger dead. Not dead,
Jaeger
dead
on
now.
me.
Toxic come aboard, I think.
In this stadium game, we were playing super smart, taking lots of ground, using the time in the round well to achieve what needed to be done in order to win, and the other team stuck to their playstyle throughout those first two rounds. But then we decided to change our game plan and go directly for sight, basically the polar opposite of what we were doing. Because the other team wasn't actually adjusting to our clears, they were still ready for that direct sight push, and we got absolutely blasted.
Flashing deep in kitchen. Oh, I just definitely flashed
I'm
somebody.
blind, yeah. It's all good. Keep smoke, keep smoke.
They're all
Keep smoke, kid short.
There's at least 3 of them.
What the f?
Oh my god.
I got this, guys. They don't know. How would they know? Using our first logic hack, we should have assumed that they would continue with their same playstyle, meaning our methodical clears were actually just a more ideal strategy overall. The third logic hack revolves entirely around capitalizing on both your own and the enemy's mental state. Using mind games and having the ability to tilt your enemies while maintaining a calm, positive mentality yourself is the ultimate hack to winning. I made an entire video on the power of positivity, which you can watch here, but now it's time to talk about the power of toxicity. Chalking the other team's mental clouds their judgment, leading to worse decision making, slower reaction time, and even poorer aim. Here's a clean-cut case where the other team literally had cheats and still lost because we were able to destroy their mindset. After every time we killed the cheater, we tell him he's terrible in the chat, and on top of that, we started playing Blitz. Having Blitz and Ying fully blind you to the point where you can't even fight back is a painful experience. Doing it against people who have a cheater queued with them and they're still losing really only amplifies the effect. These guys got so tilted that we literally won the game with a blatant wall hacker on their team. Firstly, these guys are ass, get out of my lobby, but secondly, and more importantly, the reason we were able to beat them is because we didn't let the fact that they were cheating break our spirits. Going up 3-0 in a rank game, winning a round that you shouldn't have, or just playing toxic operators is usually enough to destroy the other team's mindset. I am not advocating for being verbally toxic to people via game or team chat. I think that's just a thing to do, and it reflects poorly on your character. However, when it's a cheater on the other team, you already know they're kind of a piece of shit for ruining everyone's experience, and it's also one of the only ways to actually level the playing field, considering they have a literal game-breaking advantage. Plus, these individuals are so weak-minded that they had to cheat in a video game, so you know that you'll be able to get to them. This is a competitive game, and it makes a lot of sense to use mindset to your advantage, just don't be a terrible person in the process. This last logic hack is all about the layers, which is why I remind myself to use it by calling it the stinky onion strategy, or SOS for when you're getting completely completely plowed and need to add a couple extra layers to your gameplay. In most cases, you're going for as many layers to your strat as you possibly can. The more layers there are, the more difficult and elaborate it is to take apart. You can add layers to your strategy by incorporating more and more operator gadgets, people, or utility into your game plan. Instead of hiding in a corner all by yourself, maybe you get a teammate to come shoot the drones for you and run away. That way they're less likely to drone out the area for a second time. If you want to bandit trick a wall, maybe you have a teammate play underneath the site so that you don't get naded through the floor. Or you get a Wamai to hide a disc underneath to catch a potential nade. In all honesty, 2 layers or 2 operators, one other person besides you that can help you out is usually enough to complicate the strategy to the point where the other team can't actually deal with it. This is much stronger when you're in a full 5 stack, but it can get overly complex sometimes, so try to avoid having too many layers. If you have too many, your stinky onion strategy might get a little too big and end up having some rotten spots or holes in it that the attackers can take advantage of.
And as a reminder guys, make sure you go download War Thunder completely free using my link in the description. If you use my link, you'll also get a free large bonus pack when you sign up, including premium vehicles, boosters, premium account, and more. The depth and detail in this game is super impressive, and I really recommend that you check it out.
So remember, you can assume a lot of things in Rainbow Six Siege. The enemy's playstyle will hardly ever change. Take advantage of it. If something works for the other team, they'll more than likely do it again. Strats that destroy the other team or are fundamentally sound are fine to run more than once, but one trick and rat strats should be limited to once per game. Chalking the other team's mental while maintaining a fortified one yourself is super underrated. And lastly, sometimes all you need is a couple extra layers. Or some balls in your jaws. Bye-bye.